I really, what interests me mostly about Netflix is comparing it to the old model of television and the audience, the business. I mean, they remade the business, and I'm endlessly fascinated with, compare and contrast the two. With the old one I know very well, and the new one I'm learning, and that's, I think it's just fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with our first original show, House of Cards, was the first show in television that was written specifically to be binged. I mean, there was no act breaks for commercials that would later be taken out. The shows didn't have uniform running times, and there was definitely no intent to create episodic cliffhangers and everything else. The writers knew when they wrote the first episode there would be a 13th, and they knew that the most people who watched the first one would watch the second, and a lot of them would watch the third, all in a row. So they build their story arcs around that. It's been exciting. I mean, I feel like it's you see what's being welcomed with open arms, which is great. Is
that a joke?
That's a joke. But it is what we're trying to do is we're trying to make programming that is so compelling that people choose it. So to us, that's all we really are concerned with, is making great movies that people would choose to watch on Saturday night. And ultimately, that's all the consumer really cares about. So you and I and people, we all talk in town. We talk about windows and business models and everything else. But at dinner, everyone just talks about the movies, and that's what we've tried to stay centered on.
Well, I think everything that works in entertainment is, let's just throw out everything we've seen and start over. I did that with the sitcom. We sat down and we really talked about what we don't want to see anymore, what we don't like in sitcoms, the way people talk, the way they act, So let's do our version of that. So when I tried to think about doing a talk show, I thought, well, what do I like in talk shows? Let's throw out the whole thing: the desk, the band, having to sit there, touching you with the little makeup thing. Here's your fruit basket. I go, this is not how comedians like to be funny. It's kind of the opposite of funny. And so I said, I think the best thing on talk shows is comedians, and they have more fun when they're hanging out with each other than answering questions or plugging products. So that was my idea of what a talk show could be.